to My Dad Watches The Bachelor. I'm Meredith, and I'm here with my co-host, my dad.
Hello, Meredith. How's it going today?
It's going well. I don't know if you can tell, but I do think I sound better. I have recovered from COVID.
Well, you've been home with me and the mom, so yes, I certainly hope that you're recovered. We've made it through the holidays. Knock on wood, as far as we know, you've not infected the rest of your family.
Yeah, so far so good. So exciting times that we're living in right now.
Exciting times, and we had a very short break. Actually, we podcast the finale of our friend Michelle's season last week, and now we're ready to talk about a new season of The Bachelor. And I personally wish they would have given us more time to recover.
Yeah, we've had no break since Michelle's season ended, so everything's fresh in our minds, but we are still excited to be back for our 6th season of the podcast.
It's pretty amazing that we've been doing this for 6 seasons. I must really like you.
Yeah, well, you have to like me. You're my dad.
This is true.
So with that being said, let's jump into getting to know our newest bachelor, Clayton Echard. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. I'm not really sure because we don't actually know that much about Clayton.
Well, we know some things about Clayton. He was just on the show, and he's a moose. He must be 6'4", 250.
Yeah, he's a big guy. What we know from Michelle's season is that he's 28. He's a medical sales rep. He's from Columbia, Missouri. And his mom is a teacher, like Michelle was. And I looked into the bio that ABC has of him, and it took some creative liberties, I think, in describing Clayton.
How so?
It talks a lot about his football career at the University of Missouri and said, how Clayton played a prominent role in leading them to back-to-back SEC championship games, yada, yada, yada. So I took the liberty of doing some research on our buddy Clayton, specifically his football stats, as you know I like to do.
And what did you find?
So according to Mizzou's football website, Clayton saw the most action on the field in 2014 and 2015, where he had a total of 4 tackles each season.
Okay, so not a lot of tackles, but maybe he was a special teams player or something.
And in 2015, he had 2 catches. So 1 for 6 yards and 1 for 8. And if that's not a prominent leader, I don't know what is.
Maybe he was like a locker room leader, maybe inspiring the team with motivational sayings like, someday we could be on The Bachelor or something like that.
Yeah, that sounds very motivational. Locker room talk, aspiring to be on The Bachelor. His bio also said something along the lines of how he had a brief stint with the Seattle Seahawks, but decided he had a better acumen for business than he did football, so he left. But in reality, he was a free agent and was cut in the preseason.
Yes, when the coach asked for the playbook back, I suspect that's when people decide that they might have more business acumen and don't want to be football players any longer.
Yeah. So besides football, we know that Clayton graduated with a bachelor's degree in health science from the University of Missouri, where he also minored in business and Spanish. And his ABC bio says that he's embarking on his MBA with the intention of starting his own business. So I'm curious what embarking on his MBA means, considering he's now the bachelor and is not in school.
Just, he's waiting to get his soulmate business partner to work with him. And we also know from some of the tidbits from his bio during Michelle's season that at some point he would like to own multiple gyms. So maybe that's what his business startup will be. And obviously, the guy, as I said, he's sort of a beast, but there's no fat on this guy. He is all muscle, and he's quite the physical specimen. So I suspect he could be a gym owner, and that could be something he's going to go after. Now, I also found it interesting that if you read the bio that ABC has out there, that he is nicknamed Claynos, Claynos, by his friends in the house due to partly his sculpted physique. But then he's also, if you go back to Michelle's bio, he was also has the nickname Clay Doe, which is his rapping alter ego. So, the guy apparently has several aliases, and maybe he's versatile.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we're going to get to see some split personality disorder this season on The Bachelor. I think that could make it fun. Maybe one date we get to see Clay Doe, and the next is Clay Nose, maybe some Clayton.
Well,
Keep it
and
fresh.
I'm sure that when we get into looking at the contestants, there's much potential for personality disorder as well.
Well, Clayton didn't seem to do much to win over the heart of his bachelorette, Michelle, but he was a favorite of Michelle's middle school students. So I think we also have to keep that in mind when we're going through our picks. He likes the kids, or the kids like him.
Well, and I'm not sure that Clayton knew he liked the kids until he spent some time with the kids, and then there was the very emotional departure of Clayton when he read some letters from the kids, because Clayton was like the best fort builder of the bachelors apparently, and he won over some of Michelle's students. Unfortunately, he did not win over Michelle, but I guess we come into this show with the assumption that he's the sort of guy that would like to settle down and have a family at least at some point in time.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. Have we talked enough about Clayton? Can we move on?
Well, the only other thing that I had was that he seems, on the surface, he seems normal, nice, and very vanilla, which could make for a challenging show. But fortunately, our listeners, you don't actually have to watch the show. We will fill you in each week on what's going on. So don't feel obligated to watch the show. You should just feel obligated to listen to our fine podcast on the Mesh TV network.
So before we wrap up, we need to discuss our new host because Caitlin and Tasha are not with us this season.
And we hope that Tasha is well, because we know that she was exposed to COVID. We don't know if she had COVID like you, but you're doing well, and we hope that Tasha's doing well. And I guess the last we saw of Tasha, I was on the Men Tell All when she had to walk off emotionally when she was asked about her relationship with Zach. You don't have any updates on that, do you, Miss Instagram social media person?
No, they're still broken up, and Tasha's just doing what she can to move forward.
All right. Well, good luck, Tasha. So who is our new host?
Our new host is Jesse Palmer. He was the 5th Bachelor of the franchise in 2004. And he also hosted ABC's The Proposal. Do you remember that show? It was back a couple years. You could get proposed in like 30, or get engaged in like 30 minutes instead of 10 episodes.
Surprisingly, the mom and I did not watch that show.
Okay, well, I'm not very familiar with Jesse Palmer, so I'm getting most of my info from ABC's bio of him. But they're saying he is a special contributor for Good Morning America, as well as a contributor across all ABC News platforms, primarily focusing on major stories as well as news of the day in signature live events. He's hosted several iterations of ABC's Disney Parks holiday specials, has a leading role in ABC's presentation of the NFL Draft, and has been a part of the ESPN family since joining in 2007 after 5 seasons in the NFL.
Well, I tend to remember he was a quarterback in college and had a relatively short and undistinguished NFL career, and I mean no disrespect by that. And just making the NFL is quite the accomplishment, but I don't think he played that much in the NFL.
Okay, well, I wasn't even aware that he was in the NFL, so good for Jesse.
I think He went to the University of Florida, although I have not checked this.
Mm.
I think
Well,
he played football there.
he's also served as host of the Emmy Award-winning Daily Mail TV and most recently hosted ABC's The Ultimate Surfer. So Jesse is very familiar with hosting.
Crappy television shows. Yes, it sounds like he's done a lot of this.
Yes, so hopefully that'll bode him well being the new Bachelor host.
Well, we sort of have to change our thought process in that we've just gone through 2 seasons with a bachelorette and a bunch of dudes hanging around. So I'm having to change my mindset, not only with a new host, a new gender. It's just it's a different ball game now. So we'll have to adjust.
It is a new ballgame, especially because we're going back to normal. Clayton season is at Bachelor Mansion. There's going to be traveling. This is as normal of a Bachelor season that we are going to have seen since COVID started.
And we're assuming that most of the season was filmed this past fall,
Hmm.
where COVID rates were lower, unlike right now where they seem to be spiking. So it sounds like they were able to do most of their work while COVID rates were relatively low. And we're assuming that they continue to do all the testing and everything to make things as safe as possible.
Yeah, that we believe that they filmed from September through late November around Thanksgiving.
Okay. Well, so we've sort of set the stage with our Bachelor. Is there anything else we should cover as we get ready for this new exciting season?
No, I think we're ready. We're very excited to get the season started. So join us next time as we very kindly judge the women of Clayton's season and make our picks. You'll get to hear all our thoughts from the right perspective and my dad's.